All right, let me get this show on the road. My name is Rafiq Wayani. I will be kind of talking about what is expected of you when you enter a career in IT. There's a lot of misconception out there that I just want to clear up a bit, put some perspective on things so that people have a better understanding of what they're getting into. There are really way too many things to be discussed here, but I'm going to be discussing the different areas of discipline within IT. I have broken that list down to a very short list because there's no way I would be able to go through everything that encompasses IT. I'm going to talk to you about how to determine what route to take within the discipline, within the different areas. And I'm going to kind of talk to you about separating fact from fiction. Those are the 3 points that I'm going to try to make over within the next hour, and I'm going to see if you guys have any questions I can help answer. So for the purposes of our discussion, I want to break things down into 3 distinct categories, and they are developer, network administrator, and project manager. I also want to mention something interesting to you. I know immediately you're thinking, well, what about sales? What about marketing? What about being a CEO? What about being a visionary? There are a lot of things. There are a lot of things that I'm not listing here, obviously. So I'm breaking things down into 3 different pieces: developer, network admin, and project manager. Now, within those, developer, network admin, and project manager, you can do a lot of things. Many people that are entering IT believe as though there are just a limited number of things that a developer does, or a limited number of things that a network admin does, or a limited number of things that a project manager does. For example, you may believe that a developer just sits down and writes code. Well, yes, that is true, but the kind of code they write is pretty massive, and the systems they affect are very big. Can you imagine being the person on the ground floor as a developer of Uber, or Google, or Microsoft, or Apple, or Android systems, or eBay, or PayPal, or many other systems? The list goes on and on. And network admin and project managers are no different. Have you heard of something called I am a really good user, where people say, I'm good with computers. My friend is good with computers, so he got into computers. I can tell you that if you are a good user, that doesn't necessarily make you a good professional. It's very different. Being a good user is very similar to being a good driver. If you're a good driver on the streets, that does not make you a professional driver. And it certainly doesn't make you a mechanic. I'm not a mechanic or a professional driver. I've been driving for 34 years. I certainly do not consider myself a professional driver by any means. So just because you've been using a computer for a little while and that you're good with computers, using them, that does not make you a pro. It's very, very different. For example, the person dealing with big data. Here is an example of technologies that are associated with big data. I'm sure you may have heard of what big data is. It's a way to gather analytical information from streams of unstructured data like Facebook, like Twitter, like Snapchat, and so on, to make heads and tails of it. Here is something that is associated with data storage. Look at the number of things that are involved in making data storage happen. Data storage, as you might imagine, is physical hardware along with software implemented to store large amounts of data. Data is coming through very big, very fast, and very heavy. Here is technologies that surround Virtualization. You may have heard of virtualization. Maybe you've even worked with some virtualization vendors. But the market in the virtualization spectrum is pretty huge. You may have also heard of cloud. Look, here are a bunch of cloud-related technologies that are growing very, very vastly and very, very quickly. Here, for example, is a set of application development technologies, places that allow you to develop an app, maybe on Apple, maybe on Android, maybe doing WordPress, Cold Fusion in the old days, PHP, Java. The list can actually go on and on. Here are some databases around big data. Why am I showing you these things? The reason I'm showing them to you is because I just want you to see what seems as perhaps a one-dimensional view when you hear the word big data, cloud, virtualization, storage, and so on. Don't think of one thing. There is a lot of things behind the scenes. Here are databases that are primary in the database world. Here are technologies that surround business intelligence. Here are some technologies that surround security. You may have heard of many of these, like CISSP and CISM and CRISC and CSSLP. The list goes on, and it's growing very, very rapidly. Here are some certifications that surround networking. Here are some certifications that surround project management. Okay, PMI, SP, RMP, ACP, list is quite lengthy. If you are doing work in the data center or the networking realm, maybe you'll get to see data centers like this, and maybe you'll be part of a group of people that builds these from scratch. Okay, maybe that's going to be you. Maybe you are going to be writing code, right? Maybe you'll be writing code like this. Okay? Maybe you'll end up becoming a data scientist. Okay? Maybe that's your forte. Maybe you're going to become a business analyst. Okay? Maybe you're going to be the person that takes care of and handles encryption and data encryption. Maybe you'll be dealing with desktop support. Maybe you'll be dealing with end users and systems that surround end users. Maybe you'll be dealing with virtualization desktop infrastructure, or VDI. VDI has been around for quite some time, but it has improved a great deal. So what am I trying to say by showing you all these things? I think my message is quite clear. Don't think that a career in IT is one-dimensional. There's a lot going on in the IT universe that would interest you. I want to separate some factual characteristics from fiction. For example, keep in mind that you need continuous education in order to be able to work within the IT discipline. Okay? You need to understand that there's a lot of time and effort required over the years before you're able to find your success. No matter how many certifications you get, no matter how much education you have, nothing, but nothing is going to replace experience. It's very possible that you guys have had and attained certifications. That's not a mystery. Many people right out of college or somewhere during the college time or somewhere in their careers begin to attain certifications. Certifications is very possible on top of your experience, may get you work, may get you a foot in the door. But certifications by themselves are not going to help you remain in that job and help you succeed. You need experience. And depending on your specific responsibility, your work can be very, very rewarding. If you end up working for an organization that is helping people, helping diseases, helping the medical community, helping end some child hunger, poverty, maybe your role is going to be key in changing the face of the way the world operates. I can give you an example, obviously, of iPhone or Uber. The list is quite vast, or Amazon. These all started in garages. Somebody thought up Uber. And let's say that the person that thought up Uber is not the person that coded the application that people use in Uber or Lyft or many other services that are out there. But how about would you have liked to have been the person that coded the application that is now being used by millions all over the world that helps them get rides? Would you like to have been the one who was part of the development team on iPhone or Android? Would you have liked to have been on the ground floor of cloud platforms or of Amazon or eBay or PayPal or any number of things? And whatever you do doesn't have to be that massive, if you will. It's very possible that you will achieve satisfaction in doing something smaller, maybe for a volunteer organization, maybe for the American Red Cross, maybe for some institution that contributes back to the community, maybe that a community and an organization that is helping heal some really ailments that are hard to have money for. Maybe you're going to do something that raises awareness. So think about not just the fact that you're coding or that you're in application development or that you are a network admin or that you are a project manager. You may want to think about the bigger picture. I've been involved in IT for the past 32 years, since March of 1985. I've worked for a wide range of organizations, from education to manufacturing to marketing and sales institutions to airlines to communication organizations to manufacturing to distribution. And I have found across the board, people are really awesome. You're going to run into people that are mathematicians. You're going to run into people that are great analysts. You're going to run into people that are great developers. You're going to constantly find people that you work with that you're going to be able to learn from, grow from, educate from. And it is a really, really wonderful and exciting career. You are able to find your passion within IT no matter what you do. If you happen to like music, well, IT is very ingrained in music, whether it's movies, special effects, whether it is desktop user experience type entities, and maybe you're going to do soft skill stuff. Maybe you're going to be teaching people how to write and do spreadsheets. Maybe you're going to be teaching people how to get data analytics. Maybe your background is in mathematics. Maybe your background is in creative arts. You can link that with technology. The other great piece about IT and the information technology field is that it is ever changing. No 2 weeks, no 2 months are alike. That's the other great part. You're able to grow from within the IT environment very quickly. Some people will tell you that, I do work in desktop support. I'm sure you've heard that before. Maybe you have somebody that you work with that works in desktop support. That is this person or this guy, if you will. And they're running around day in and day out fixing laptops and fixing desktops and fixing keyboard and fixing mice and fixing Word, Excel, and PowerPoint and fixing users' connections and such. Many times they don't like what they do. The thing is that people that do like it, that do have a passion for it, as I did many, many, many decades ago, you end up becoming very good at it. And when you end up becoming very good at your job, you're able to do something that other people can't do as fast as you can do it, with as much accuracy as you can do it with. People will begin to look up to you. Look at your ability to be able to solve problems, assess the situation, get down to the root cause of the problem. How many times have you had a desktop or a laptop or a tablet or whatever you want to call it, a mobile phone, and you can't figure out for the life of you how something doesn't work or how or why you can't connect to a system? Every one of us has a person we're able to call, and you're able to tell them, hey, I don't know why, but I cannot connect to such and such system. And usually within the first 4 or 5 minutes or within the first 2 or 3 minutes, while conversing with them, they're able to tell you something that you didn't even think of or that you wouldn't have thought of as your first place to look. Desktop support is a really good place to start. And it is usually someplace that most network admins start. Well, desktop support, if you end up doing that work, you may end up here. You may end up in the VDI structure or the VDI realm of things, where you're dealing with a cloud platform, where you're dealing with this central virtualization environment that is allowed basically all of these thin clients or zero clients to be able to communicate. And your organization is such that maybe you'll go from one machine or 5 machines up to 20, 30 machines very, very quickly. So maybe your organization is in need of someone who's able to go from one machine here, right, to be able to add things very, very quickly, right? Somebody's able to do something like this very, very fast and be able to make the organization grow, be able to make the machines work, if you will. Maybe you're a business analyst. Okay? Maybe you're a business analyst. Maybe your expertise and your skills are relying on the ability to be able to see the big picture. Maybe you're able to see numbers in a way that no one else can. Maybe you're able to expand and grow like no one else can. There's some other things associated with this as well, as far as separating fact from fiction goes. Developers, yes, it's very possible that you're going to work inside of your organizations and you're going to be at one desk, one place majority of the day. That's one of the things that kind of separates the developer from the network administrator. It's very possible that the developer is going to be sitting at the desk using the machine to develop and code and write more code, and it's very possible they'll be sitting in one place for 12, 14, 16 hours a day. Whereas a network admin, it's very possible that that person is going to be moving around the building. Maybe they'll be crawling floors. Maybe they'll be working with routing and switching equipment. Right? Maybe they'll be working with, for example, and let me show you, it's very possible that you've seen this as well. Okay. Here is, for example, routing and switching, right? Maybe you'll be working with routing and switching. Maybe you'll be responsible for network security. Maybe that's your expertise. Okay? So there's no real downtime, and there's no time to actually be bored. This is one of the fields that is constantly growing, constantly expanding, and education never stops, learning never stops, no matter what you do. Whether you're working as a network admin, or whether you're working as a developer, whether you're developing iPhone or Android applications where you're responsible for project management and team and budgeting and leading a team of people, there is always room to grow and learn and move around. Many people start out as desktop support and they realize that's not their thing, so they move into development. And they realize that's not their thing. They end up moving into management, getting into project management. And they realize that's not their thing, but then they realize, oh, wait, maybe they need to be involved in a music industry. Maybe they need to be involved in a manufacturing industry or airline industry or communication industry. Maybe they need to be working in banking or finance. Maybe that's where their expertise is. You can combine your experience, your background, your education, and your expertise with IT, within IT, and make yourself really very, very valuable. You end up finding your niche, if you will. You end up finding your niche. You end up getting very good at it. You end up learning how to work and make yourself very, very useful and extremely important. Business analytics and big data wasn't even a word up until 10, 12 years ago. Business analytics have been around for quite some time, but not the way it is today. So if you are a mathematician, if you like math, if you like statistics and probability, you are able to contribute in a big way to business analytics. Maybe you end up becoming a BI person who works with and helps organizations see their growth, be able to make heads and tails of numbers. Maybe you're a creative genius so that you're able to see things in a way that no one else can. Maybe you'll be able to use your creative juices, if you will, and use the information, use the IT environment to be able to grow a organization or a business and be a part in something really, really huge. Everything that's big that you see that is big today started out very, very small, and IT has a big hand in it. Technology in general has a big hand in it. And to be able to see the numbers, to be able to see how things work and operate, being able to develop and such is a really great feeling to know that you help construct and build something from scratch, whether that is a network admin, whether that is as a developer, as a project manager. It is really good to know that you built something from scratch and you took part in something that was a much bigger picture and you had a key role in it. You developed something, you helped fine-tune something, you managed something, you saw it through the end, you met a lot of deadlines, you overcame a lot of hurdles, you learned a whole lot of new things. You learned about new technologies along the way that helped you basically find the solution. Okay? So keep those things in mind. Do not judge IT at its face value. Don't think that a developer sitting there at their desk developing something boring. It isn't boring. Imagine if you were a developer, like I said, for Uber or eBay or Google or Amazon. They're not doing something boring. If you're a network admin, you're not doing something boring at all. You are also somebody that is part of a much bigger picture. Imagine if you're the person responsible for network administration at Amazon, at eBay, at Google, at Microsoft, at Apple, and so on, or any number of organizations, or at Oracle. Okay? Think about it. Think about how much you can use and how much information you're going to be able to get and grow with. Maybe you're responsible for a data center. Maybe you're learning about encryption. Maybe that's where your expertise lie. You can take advantage of anything and make a lot from your background, from your experiences. Keep in mind that nothing you do, not your experience, not your background, not your degree or your education is going to go to waste. That's a great thing. You're able to blend in your experience and your background with the IT infrastructure and within the IT realm, and you're able to find your space. Sometimes it takes long to find your space, but you will find your space. You'll find your passion, and you'll be able to grow within it. And because of your enthusiasm, because of your passion, because of your knowledge and experience, you'll be able to help others grow. Right? So with that, my message, if you will, right? So developer is generally detail oriented, right? You love to write code and you would rather be at your desk majority of the day, which is really what ends up happening. Developers don't necessarily work from home. That's another common misconception. It's very, very possible that you are working with secure code or something that's supposed to be kept hush-hush or quiet. If that's the case, you're not going to be able to work from home. You will have to come into work. Okay? Network admin, you like to move around. You like to work with your hands and with equipment. Project manager, maybe you like to plan, organize, and manage resources to get the job done. Financial resources, budgeting, people resources. Maybe you're a natural leader. In order for you to be a developer, a network admin, or a project manager, you are going to need experience, first-hand experience. Being a project manager that's strictly a manager that doesn't know much about IT will not be able to allow you to be effective as you can be. If you came up from the ranks, you will understand IT enough to be able to manage the environment. Network admin. If you're a network admin, it helps to understand what the developer world is like. You don't have to be a developer, but it helps to understand what the developer world is like. If you're a developer, it helps to understand what the network admin work is like and what that world involves and basically what it entails. And as developers and network admins, you need to understand what project managers do so that you're able to have an appreciation for their work and vice versa. You don't have to live in these silos. It's very possible that you start out as a developer, realize you don't want to be that. Then you end up being a network admin, realize you don't want to do that either. So you end up becoming a project manager. So you've gone through the ranks. Many people that I work with do that. And maybe you go the other way. Maybe you start out with project management and you realize it's really not your forte. Maybe you're not cut out to do that. Maybe you like to work on hand, on the floor, and you like to work with people and not with budgets and with scheduling. Depends on what your goals are. But there's a place for you. No matter where you go within IT, there's a place for you. Okay. Again, my name is Rafiq Wayani. I wanted to